Now then, another little update for you all. As you can see, I've now had the van carpet lined. Now I decided not to do the carpet lining myself because it looked a bit too much of a faff on for me. So I went to a lad called Billy at Luna Vans in Middlesbrough. Top van converter. Give him a look on Facebook and on his website. And if you're in the area and you need anything, certainly give them a shout. They can do everything for you. Do the full build. Right, also I've ordered the kitchen and the bed. They've been on order around about 4 weeks or so now, so I'm expecting the bed next week and I'm expecting the kitchen probably the week after, so that'll be another video. But also for this one I've just taken delivery of some window blind pods. I've got 3 of them, one for the kitchen window, one for the window on the sliding door, and one for the rear quarter window. Now I'm going to start installing these now, so they're not supposed to take too long, they're not supposed to be too difficult, so this is probably going to be a short video. I'm expecting them only to take possibly 5 or 10 minutes each to install, probably more likely 5 than 10, as long as everything goes okay. Right, I'll get the gear ready and I'll set the camera up and I'll crack on with it. See you in a bit. Right, that's it, that's the first one fitted. Really straightforward. All I've got to do now is put the caps on there, on the bolts, like a self-tapping bolt, so they're really easy to go through. These black caps, when you can't see them outside the window. Caps are more of a fiddle than the actual window. Fiddle about that one. Right, that's it. The shade pods are from a company called Vanshades. You'll find them on the internet. And the ones that I've picked, I've got the anthracite carpet lining, the same as the van. It's obviously got black outlined, but it also has a insect panel as well, so you can keep some light coming through during the day and have the windows open. So I'm really pleased with them so far. They look really good quality. Right, I'll get the other two done. I'll put the camera back and I'll start on the other two. See you in a bit. Right, that's it, that's the second one done. Really pleased with these. Fairly straightforward to install. Really nice as well. Right, one more to do. I'll bring you back in a minute. Two more bolts on the caps and that's it. Definitely the fiddliest part of this job is these little caps. The last thing. Everything else was much easier. The only thing I would say is, if I could give any tips, like I say, it's my first time doing this, but if I could give any tips, don't be too keen and don't push too hard to start off with, because you're going through plastic basically. So you just let the self-tapper do the work itself. Don't put too much pressure on, because I get over keen and I push too hard, and that's when you jump off your self-tapping board. And then, but remember that where you're screwing into, it's not flush 90 degrees, they're actually curved walls on the van panels. So if you can angle it ever so slightly and try and keep as much 90 degrees to the actual panel as possible, it tends to go in a bit easier. I found that after the first one or two that I drilled. Right, last one. That's it, done. Now then, I'm just sticking a catch-up video on the end of the section on installing the Vanshades, the van blinds. Right, as you can see, the kitchen and the bed are now installed. I'll go back a few weeks ago, and when the kitchen and the bed got delivered, I cleared a space in my house and set my camera up, and I basically filmed building the kitchen. It took me about, I think, 4 or 5 hours to knock all the T-trims into place on all the panels, and then it took me around about a day to actually build the kitchen up. The kitchen's from a company called Davanco Designs, and I've got to say that it's an absolutely superb piece of kit, absolutely first class. The guy there, Dan, he couldn't be helpful enough. I messaged him a few times with various questions, and he answered instantly, virtually. And anyway, so I spent hours and hours building the kitchen up. The kitchen builds up into 2 sections, front section and a back section, and then you lift it into the van, put it together and slide it into place. But I built it all up. I built the 2 sections up in the house, and when I had it all done and the kitchen installed, I tried to edit it, and I just had hours and hours of basically rubbish. Obviously I've spent hours building this kitchen up, and I just, because I was concentrating on actually building it, I wasn't narrating the video basically, so there was hours and hours of like just me putting panels together and not speaking. So after I messed around with it for a couple of hours, I just binned it all. It was a waste of time, it was rubbish. But so anyway, I'll go back to actually building it. It's basically it's a flat pack. It comes in a flat pack, although it's quite a quality piece of flat pack. I'm sure most of you have built flat pack furniture up before. It's basically get all your fixings out, check everything's there, and then start on page 1 of the instructions and put it together. So basically I knocked all the T-trims into all the panels, built this 2 halves of the kitchen together, lifted them into the van, joined them together, put the splashback on, fitted the splashback, and then temporarily slid it into place. The next step was to get the seat in, open it out into its bed configuration, and sort of fine-tune the two so everything was sweet, sat together. And then once that was done, remove the bed again and basically fix the kitchen into place. Now the kitchen fixed into place, I've used a series of brackets, and basically I've screwed brackets to the parts of the kitchen and fixed them to the shell of the van, the pillars and that sort of thing, you know. So there's brackets in various places. You're not going to be able to see most of them because I've got my cupboards are all pretty much loaded up now, but there's 1 or 2 I can show you. And in fact, I'll nip round the back now and I'll show you. It's light enough in there for you to pick that up, but basically I've screwed the brackets to the kitchen unit and then shaped them to the various sections of the van itself, the shell, and then just screwed them in place with soft tappers. Simple really. Right, so once that kitchen was in place, then it was a case of getting the seat bed back in, putting it into position, marking the floor, getting the bed back out of the way again, drilling the holes, and then basically fitting the bed in place. I've used 12mm stainless steel bolts with washers, spring washers and nylock nuts, so they're not going to go anywhere. Also underneath as well, I had a series of steel spreader plates made up, and they're most of them are 150mm by 75mm. There's a couple of them that are a bit smaller due to like obstacles of where they were being bolted underneath. But what I'll do in a minute, I'll get underneath and I'll try and show you a couple of the spreader plates so it gives you some sort of an idea. Basically, you don't just want a washer pressing on the underfloor of the van. You need to spread the weight a bit further, so that's what these spreader plates are for. Basically, I've put them on anti-rust undercoat on them and then sprayed them with an auto touch-up spray. And that's that. I think that's about it with regards to that. What I'll do is I'll get underneath now. And I'll show you the spreader plates. See you in a bit. Basically, it's just a 6mm mild steel plate cut into a rectangle and painted and fixed into position. Really simple but vital. Yeah, so hopefully they're clear enough on the video and you'll be able to see them spreader plates. But basically all 10 bolts have got a spreader plate on. Most of them, like I say, are the big size ones, but there's 1 or 2 that's slightly smaller due to obstacles where the actual bolts came through the floor. But yeah, so that was basically it. Once the bed's in position and the kitchen's in, it was just a case of getting on with it. I've connected all the electrics up. I'll touch on them in a minute or two, but what I will say, I decided to go for the rib bed rather than the rock and roll bed. It's just I think it's a 6 2/3. It's just a personal choice, but I preferred the look of the rib bed, so that's the one I've gone for. What I'll do is I'll set the tripod up on the worktop on the kitchen, and I'll show you how easy it is to open this thing up. The only fiddly bit is the anti-slam mechanism. You need to open that out the way to get the bed down. First of all, just move it out the way. Right, I'll set you up on the worktop and show you how to do this bed. That's it, that's the bed set up, simple as that, literally seconds. Right, I'll put the back up, put the bed back together, and then I will go through what I've done with the electrics. With the eagle-eyed will have noticed that the electrics are on, the lights are on in here, so I'll put this bed back together and then we'll go through the electrics. Simple as that. Right, as you can see, I've decided to go with a portable electrical system, so I can take these units out and use them outside, because obviously at times I work on sites and whatnot, and sometimes there's no power, so I'm able to use these things in that situation, or in the workshop at the back that has no power. So that's the reason, one of the reasons why I decided to go with this. It's quite straightforward. This is the AC300. It's a 3 kilowatt inverter, so it's got plenty of power to run your air fryers, your hair dryers, your toasters, kettles, anything you want. So that's the inverter unit. Now I'll show you what I'm done with the batteries. I've got one battery at the moment. I'll go around the back and I'll show you. Right, that is the B300K battery. Now I'm intending on putting a second battery on top of there, so I've got plenty of off-grid power. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to buy another piece of this bedboard, and I'm going to box it all in, and I'm going to pull this door. This door is going to be pulled forward onto the front of the new box section, so I've got storage on top of the box, and then I've got access to my batteries and extra storage here underneath. That's the way I'm going to do this, because obviously I still need everything portable, so I can take it out and use it elsewhere. Right, 2 seconds while I just put the seat back. Right, that's the seat back in position. Right, where I've put the main electric install and the cabling running to that Bluetti AC300 unit is actually in this. It's actually in the back of the next cupboard along in here. I'll show you. Now you've got to bear in mind this is a temporary install so far, because I'm not too sure I'm actually going to keep it in here. So as you'll see, all the cabling and conduit that I had running, I've not trimmed any of it to length yet. I've left it full length. Now I've put a temporary install in this cupboard here. Reposition the torch. It's a tight squeeze, but it's out the way. Now bear in mind this is just a temporary install, so I'm undecided whether it's going to stay in this cupboard or not. I may actually move it to under the bed where the Bluetti is. I'm not decided yet on where the diesel heater is going to go. I don't know whether to put that under the bed or sling it underneath the van. So for the time being, that's a temporary install. That's the cut-off switch for the Bluetti Charger 1. That's the battery-to-battery charger that takes any spare current off the alternator and charges the B300K battery up. That's my 12 volt DC fuse board. That's my lighting connection box. And then obviously the AC on the van, which I'll get back with this cupboard. Yeah, as you can see there as well, there's all the solar connections as well. That's charging up the B300K battery as well, and that's doing that through the AC300 unit. Right, but like I say, it's all temporary. It's gonna, when I decide what I'm doing with it, it'll get tidied up. and the AC on the van is powered directly by the front of the AC 300 unit, so that's all up and running as well now. So that's where we're at the moment, and I think that about brings us up to date. It's just a case of, like I say, I've still got the diesel heater to decide what I'm doing with that, and then tidy up and finalise the electrical install. But for the moment I'm up and running and I'm using the van. So yeah, that's about it. So next there'll be a couple more install videos, no doubt. It depends. I'm not going to do the diesel heater myself, I don't think, with it involving dropping the fuel tank off. I'm gonna get someone to do that for me. But if they allow me to film it, I'll film it. But if not, I'll just update you after it's been done and show you what's been done. And yeah, that's about it. So it's a case of now watch this space for the van adventures. See you soon. Cheers.